Pagkatapos po ng ating hearings doon sa Socorro, Bayanihan Services Inc., ako po'y nilapitan ng mga ilang individual na may mga karumal-dumal na kwento tungkol sa isa pang organisasyon na ginagamit ang relihiyon bilang cover para mang-abuso ng mga tao. Ako po'y na-shock na madinig kung gaano kapareho ang mga kwento, bagamat mas malaki lang ito at mas matagal ang organisasyon. Mukhang pareho lang ang modus. Ginagamit ang relihiyon para manlinlang ang tao at maghasik ng kasamaan at pang-aabuso. Kung paano ginamit ni Senyor Aguila ang bulag na paniniwala para linlangin ang mga miyembro ng kanyang kulto, ganoon din ginamit at patuloy na ginagamit ni Apollo Quiboloy ang bulag na paniniwala para abusuhin ang mga miyembro ng Kingdom of Jesus Christ. There are many things that I've uncovered in the course of preparing for this hearing. May ebidensya tayo ng panggagahasa sa menor de edad, ng pisikal na pang-aabuso sa mga mismong tagapagsunod nila, kagaya ba naman ng paglagay ng sili sa mata at ari at pagbagok ng ulo sa pader, ng sapilitang panggagamit sa mga bata na manlimos sa kalsada. Kung mapatunayan sa hukuman na totoo, these all constitute charges of child abuse, serious physical injuries, and even human trafficking, which warrants life imprisonment. Di po nakakagulat na ito mismo ang kinakaharap ng kaso ni Ginoong Quiboloy sa Estados Unidos. Ito daw, si Ginoong Quiboloy, ay mahilig palibutan ang sarili ng mga magagandang babae. Yung mga choir sa likod niya, puro magaganda. At itong mga photos na ito ay public photos na galing sa internet at sa media. Mayroon po tayong documentation ng mga babaeng taga-Ukraine na paulit-ulit na pinagsamantalahan ni Quiboloy sa paniniwalang ang pakikipagtalik sa kanya ay pagsasakripisyo para sa Diyos Ama. Sila'y kasama din sa choir ni Quiboloy. Panoorin po natin ang mga video na ito bilang bahagi ng aking opening statement. Ang mga babaeng ito ay handang magbigay ng kanilang testimonya in person, kung hindi lang dahil sa matinding digmaan sa Ukraine ngayon. Sila po ay nagbigay ng kanilang consent para ipalabas ang videos na ito. So, panoorin muna natin si Elias Sofia.
I was about 21 years old.
Ayusin lang po natin yung audio para marinig po natin sila.
About 21 years old.
It was 2014. And
Where did you stay?
I stay in a dorm, like a building, separate building. And most of the people there was Ukrainian.
Tell me how your relationship with Pastor Quiboloy developed or unfolded.
At first, our relationship was very good, very warm, very friendly. I didn't feel anything like, oh, he's like you know, there's nothing about that. He transferred me in one room. I live with the Jack Roy. She's pastoral in one of the closest, like she's very close to pastor. And I live with her in one room. And little by little, some girls like Jack Roy and other girls of pastorals are Filipino. They used to fellowship to me like, are you ready to sacrifice everything to God, to the Father? like pastor. Of course, I'm ready to fight. I leave my job, I leave my school, I leave my friends and my parents. I already sacrificed a lot of. So what do you mean? I cannot understand because I already sacrificed and it's the life that I choose and I live and I believe that it's God's way for me. So and they were just like even your body you can sacrifice.
When he see that there is no Ukrainian girls and I'm alone, so he start more and more to talk to me. Are you want to sacrifice? Are you want to sacrifice everything, even your body? I'm very innocent. I really didn't. Nobody talked to me like straightly. That this is what will happen. And I remember that time came, and Atija came to me in the night, and she said. I want you to massage pastor's feet before he sleep. When Atajak called me for night to massage him, I didn't think that this is what will happen, even though I was nervous. And she saw that I'm crying, but I'm still do what they want me to do. I take a bath, I put this pajama and I'm crying, I'm scaring, and it's night, and they put me, because I never stay in the pastor alone in the night, in the dark, and I was nervous. It was big room, and before room there is a little room. So Atijak lead me there, and she said, go in pastor's room. And I just stayed in this little room because I was scary and I was crying, and pastor was waiting for me. Until he realized that I'm not coming, and he by myself went out and pulled me in his room. And I was like scary, and he said like massage my feet here, 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 and then little by little, and I was very nervous, and it was dark. And suddenly he started to move my hands to put on his back, but he said massage here, and I said, oh my God, okay, and I massaged. And after that, little by little, he just turned to me and he removed my clothes, and I even can, because I was very shocked. I was like, I cannot explain because I was nervous. This is what happened. He just removed my clothes and have sex with me.
Women below the age of 18 years old, were they also being used sexually?
Yeah, I didn't know about this for how many years till before I left Philippines. I heard from other like. She's very close to pastor. She grew up with him. She's a senior there, and she's pastoral. And I heard that, oh, you're crying because I was complaining about this pastor's ministry. And she said, oh, you're crying that you're pastoral. At least you're mature, but I become a pastoral at 12 years old. This is time when I was like shocked. The next day when I heard it, that become a pastoral and 12 years old. I started to fight with pastor and ask why, is it normal?
No, Sophia, there's nothing normal about it. This is child abuse. Ngayon naman po, pakinggan natin si Elias Nina.
I was about 20.
I think it's like 2012 that I came. My mom and my siblings, they started to attend first the congregation here in Ukraine. So they were trying me that I will also join them. They've been like trying to get me in also to the kingdom.
What year did you go to Davao?
I think it's 2012.
Okay, and then can you tell me how you became a pastoral?
I became pastoral maybe 5 or 6 months. I remember there was one day we had a preparation for there's ICD, International Children's Day. So I joined the dances, and I remember after it's like late at night, somebody called me and they said that Pastor Kibaloy, like he's waiting for you, he's calling. So I didn't like think anything, and then when Pastor Kibaloy called me, like he was asking me if I will become a pastoral, and he said that you must sacrifice everything, including your body. But I was like very innocent to that. I did not understand. I thought it just sacrificed your body, that it's you will not be married like that. There was time that he was calling me at night again, And then he was trying to explain to me what is the meaning of that. Like you have to like sacrifice your body. You have to have a sex with him. Not right away that I was okay with that. It's like maybe 4 months more.
Around what month did it start when you started?
Maybe it's like summer 2013, something like that.
How long were you a pastoral, and how long were you being used by Pastor Kibuloy?
If it's from 2013, and then I left 2021. So it's like 8 years, I think.
And during that whole period, you were being sexually used by Kibuloy.
Yes.
You also met the other pastorals, the other Ukrainian pastorals.
Yes, all of us. You don't even think that others are like that also, because they're saying like don't tell anybody. It's a very like sacred ministry. Not everybody can like be like that. It's not all the same. It's like once or 2 times, and the other one they have to be like every week, like night. It's called night duty. Like us, we been there every week, and we have to go. There's like schedule for every girl that you have to be there. Every time I go there, I was like praying that he will be just sleeping and not touching me. One time at night, he came to me to my room to have a sex, and I was crying. I said that I don't want, and he got mad at me. He said like, "You're going to hell because of that."
At bilang patunay na hindi sila nagsisinungaling, nagpadala pa ng maraming larawan ang ating witness na kasama nila si Kibuloy. Sa likod ng mga ngiti, may mga pang-aabuso pala. Pag may mamamayang pinapahirapan, di tayo pwede magbulag-bulagan. Pag ang mga babae ay inabuso, kailangan nating kumilos. Pag ang bata ay sinasaktan, kailangan nating magsama-sama bilang isang lipunan para sila ay iligtas. With all my heart, dear colleagues and friends, with all of me, I believe that this is the only calculus that matters. Now I'd like to request the committee secretary to acknowledge the resource persons and administer the oath. And I note that the witness overseas has taken her oath overseas thanks to the able assistance of the Philippine Consulate.
16 years old na ako nito, na-promote kami bilang close-in pastoral. Sa puntong ito, nilipat kaming magkapatid sa isang dorm sa loob ng KJC Davao Compound. Pagtungtong ko ng 17 years old, mas naging maselan na ang pinapagawa nila. Tanda ko pa, September 1, 2014, kasi kakatapos lang ng tribute program ng KGC, tutulog na sana ako, pero sabi ng isang kasamang pastoral worker, magpunta daw ako sa dining area ng Bible School dahil pinapatawag daw ako ni Jacqueline Roy. Pagpunta ko doon, andun nga si Jacqueline Roy, pero walang ibang tao sa dining area. Madilim at tahimik na kasi 10 oras na ng gabi. Tulog na yung ibang mga kasamahan namin. Kinausap ako ni Miss Roy. Ang sabi niya sa akin, "Amanda, connection mo ito sa amahan. Privilege na mapabilang sa pastoral, isanctify mo ang sarili mo." Sabi niya, parte daw ng trabaho ng Ministry of the Pastorals na imasahe si Kibuloy. Sabi niya, special privilege daw ito dahil hindi naman daw lahat nahawakan at nakakalapit sa anak ng Diyos. Sabi niya pa, wag ko daw pagdudahan ang anuman na mangyayari sa loob ng kwarto kasama si Kibuloy. Basta ibigay ko lang daw ang sarili ko, maghanda daw ako, maligo, mag-toothbrush. Sinabihan pa akong mag-blow dry ng buhok. Litong-lito ako noon, pero sumunod na lang ako. Sabi ni Jacqueline Roy, kunin ko daw yung isang pajama ko at binigay ko sa kanya kasi aamuyin daw niya. ginawa ko naman. Pagkabigay ko ng pajama ko, inamoy niya at biglang sabi, ipapahiram na lang daw niya ang pajama niya. Bumalik ako sa kwarto ko at siya naman, kinuha niya yung pajama niya. Bago ako maligo, pumunta si Jacqueline Roy sa kwarto ko at binigyan ako ng isang t-shirt na may botones at pajama pants. Isang bote ng shampoo na Palmolive Violet at lotion na pabango na Bath and Body Works brand. Ang specific scent ay Enchanted, na paborito daw ni Kibuloy. Hindi ko po talaga makakalimutan ng mga yan. Maligo na daw ako at magkuskus ng maayos. Hinihintay daw ako ni Jacqueline Roy sa kwarto ni Kibuloy. Pagkatapos kong maligo at mag-blow dry, pumunta ako sa kwarto ni Kibuloy sa Bible School building. Yung kwarto na yon may 2 pinto. Yung unang pinto bukas na. Kaya pumasok ako doon. Yung isang pinto papunta sa main room ni Kibuloy. Pagkatok ko, sa pangalawang pinto, pinagbuksan ako ni Jacqueline Roy. Inakay niya ako sa may kama ni Kibuloy. Nakita kong natutulog at naghihilik pa. Nung una, pinaupo muna ako ni Jacqueline Roy sa kama, malapit sa paa ni Kibuloy. Natulog pa rin noon. Pinakita ni Jacqueline kung paano daw imamasahe si Kibuloy. Sabi niya unahin ko daw sa paa. Nakinig lang ako habang dinedemo niya. Tapos sabi na lang ni Jacqueline, hintayin ko na lang daw na sabihin ni Kibuloy kung anong sunod na gagawin. Sabi niya hanggat walang sinasabi si Kibuloy na pwede na akong umalis, hindi ako dapat lumabas ng kwarto. Matapos siyang magbilin, lumabas na siya ng kwarto. Pagkaalis ni Jacqueline, sinimulan ko na yung pagmamasahe hanggang sa namasahe ko na ang paa at likod niya. Inaantok na ako that time kasi halos 1 a.m. to 2 a.m. na po siya. Gising na si Kibuloy nito tapos sinabihan niya ako na umupo daw sa gitna ng kama. Sumunod lang ako sa instruction, umupo ako na naka-cross legs. Nang itutuloy ko na dapat ang pagmamasahe, tumayo siya at umupo sa harap ko. Sinimulan niyang tanggalin ang botones ng t-shirt ko hanggang sa tuluyan niya tinanggal ang buong t-shirt ko. Sabi niya, tumalikod daw ako. Sumunod lang ako doon at tinanggal niya ang aking bra. Pagkatapos hinawakan niyang balikat ko at hinila pahiga sa kama. Nung nakahiga na ako, pumaibabaw sa si Kibuloy tapos kahit pareho pa kaming nakapajama nun, kinikis-kis niya ang ari niya sa ari ko. Sinimulan niyang halikan ng leeg ko, nanigas na ako ng husto. Gusto kong sumigaw ng tulong at tanungin kung ano ang ginagawa niya. Pero naalala ko na bawal akong mag-question. Paumanhin po, Madam Chair, kung maselan ito, halo po ito sa aking sinumpaang salaysay. Nung tinigasan na siya, sinimulan niyang tanggalin ang pajama at pants at underwear ko. Sinipsip niya ang dibdib ko, tinanggal din niya ang pajama pants at brief niya. Nanginginig na ang katawan ko sa takot at nakatitig lang ako sa kisame. Pinipigilan ko na lang ang mga luha ko dahil sobra akong nagulat at walang magawa. Pagkatapos ay tuluyan na akong pinagsamantala ni Apollo Kibuloy nung siya ay natapos na. Pumunta siya sa CR. Tulala pa rin ako, nakatitig lang sa kisame. At dito nagsimula na akong umiyak. First time ko kasi ito. Ang dami kong tanong pero inisip ko na lang para makampante na baka ito ang kalooban ng Ama sa buhay ko.